Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Forest. You're here with Jane and Mark, and Molly will hopefully be joining us soon when she decides to disrupt the recording per usual.
Yeah, we are now live, so now it is typical of Molly to jump in. I was away for a day or so.
Yeah.
A day,
So do you want to
not
tell us
two.
the date?
I don't know. I'm so confused.
It's
It's been
May
so long.
10th over at Blue Box 29. And May 10th today is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day
It
to
is.
all
Happy
you
Mother's Day.
moms. Hi, Molly.
There she is on cue, right on her mom's lap.
Yep. Yeah, it's Mother's Day.
Yeah,
It's
and
my
they made
baby.
me do a little surprise for their mom today.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be a part of it, actually. She told me she didn't want anything to do with the paint. I didn't listen. So it may or may not have gotten a little messy, but it was still fun.
But she made sure I saw it. Like, she sat right next to the poster.
Did she
Like,
sit
right
next
in
to it?
front of the poster, she sat on it and kept, like, tapping me. Like,
Yeah. Did you see it?
yeah. So she wanted me to see that she put her little paw print on that poster.
Yeah, you did. And I wrote your name, yes. I made sure to write Molly.
She's so cute. But with that, today, the topic is the moon.
Mhm.
So we get to see 4 stories about the moon and, like, the mother of cycles and fertility. We know that the moon has all these magical properties, whether you want to call it magic or science, right? We know that women historically are more linked to the moon, just like men are more linked to the sun. The moon has a lot of feminine energy within it. So we got to look at 4 different, stories where the moon deity being a female, most of
Right.
them. Oh, the
Okay.
Japanese one, I'm thinking that it's male, but I'm thinking of the other character. So we get to see all of that today and just fully embrace it. And this picture, so that each story gets a picture for the
Mm-hmm.
day when you're reading the stories. But this picture, I don't know, it's one of the ones that it's worth, like, that's why I think I want to make the book with all the pictures in it, because it's worth seeing the whole picture. And just the small piece you see in the podcast is just that small frame of it. So the 16:9 or whatever, you don't get the full picture. Like, this one has someone embracing, like, looking at the moon, if you want to see it. Like, they're looking at it with its cycles. Okay, sorry, we had some little bit of a change in scene. But our 4 stories with the theme of cycles and fertility, and our lesson is growth following rhythm. So growth follows rhythm. I love that because every single cycle has a fully dark day.
Right.
When you are stepping into your new phase, you are a new moon. It is the darkest time of the year.
Mm,
Like, you aren't showing, right? And then the full moon, you get to fully be in your light, embrace yourself because of everything you went through to get there,
right.
of the cycle of when your light was diminishing, to it
Mm-hmm.
breaking down fully, to it starting to come back up. It is a healthy cycle because it's not saying that, well, I think it's not saying that we're constantly getting hit with terrible, terrible things,
Mm-hmm.
like breaking completely. To me, it kind of means that it's like that shedding. And that's why you see so many snakes with females. I mean, goes back to Eve with the serpent, right? Serpents are a feminine power, right? They're really just resembles the moon cycles, right? Shedding of the old self and then stepping into the new,
Right.
being in your best, but having to shed, having to go through those cycles. So we get to look at those today through, I think there's 4 really beautiful cultures in terms of feminine
Mm,
storytelling and feminine, I guess, importance within their myths and cultures. So you
right.
get to see that through Japanese, Mexican, Greece, and Romanian stories today. The Mexican is specifically from the Maya.
Mm,
But we get to see it through those 4 today. But the question is, what cycle am I in? Right?
mm,
So what cycle am I in? I hope that today, most of the mothers were in their full moon day, right?
right.
Because it feels good to know that, hey, it's about.
Yeah, shining on everybody. Look at me. Yeah.
So what are things that, like, you've liked to do with your mom in the past? Like, I know she's not here, she's in states away,
Mm,
right? Taking care of family, but You're a total mama's boy, like, totally a mama's boy, and it's cute, right? You love your mom, you respect
Well,
your
sure,
mom,
for sure.
and so what are some of your favorite things to do with your mom for Mother's Day?
It wasn't necessarily that we would really do anything, but a lot of times, like, we would either be out camping or we would go fishing or even just being at home and just being in the kitchen. Like, I guess, like, when you asked me, like, if she taught me much, I guess, yeah, the way I learned, because I would just hang out sometimes, especially as I got older, just hanging out in the kitchen, just talking. But it's almost like you pay attention to how it's done, or just like you just see the flow of it or feel the flow of it. Because when I was making you dinner today,
Mm.
like, I was like, man, I'm like a freaking chef right now. Like, just with how I was cutting stuff and putting stuff together, it was just like placing stuff and just, it was just really fun. And I was like, because of my mom, I was able to do stuff like this. I wasn't always that good. And I definitely have had to learn as I got older, but the base was there because of her. So I
I
do owe
think
a lot
that
to her because and for of that.
I think that's beautiful considering that, I mean, that's one of your mom's strongest love languages.
Hmm.
Like, she really likes to cook, but not
Yeah.
just cook, she likes to cook for a family, a gathering, a group of
She likes to
people.
feed people.
Right, and it doesn't matter if it's friends or friends of friends, like, it's a family to her.
Hmm.
Whoever wants to come,
And
come.
it's always been like that, like as long as I can remember. But I get that from her too. Like, I enjoy
No, and that's what's
making food
beautiful of it.
for people. Like, when you can make something that is just like where someone is like, it's good. So when I go to someone's house, like when we ate with your mother, the other day for your sister's birthday, and I ate
That fried
the fried
rice.
rice. Oh my goodness. It's always nice to hear that your food is good. But if, like, I showed it and it wasn't because I was thinking about showing it, that was my honest to God reaction. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good.
And that's the fried rice that I was trying to tell you and your mom about that one day that I was, like, really uncomfortable with the conversation. So I was trying to explain it, but I didn't know how to, you know, because I didn't take advantage of that when I was younger, like going and cooking with my mom.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, like, the terms and stuff. So your mom wasn't getting it, you weren't getting it, but I wanted you to because it's one of my favorite meals. I get it every year for my sister's birthday because I don't like curry, but,
That's so funny.
like, that's why I wanted you to know what it was because it was one of my favorite meals, and obviously she uses pork,
Mm.
and it's one of the only meals I'll eat with pork, so
Right.
but now you know.
Yeah. And it's delicious.
The carrots
Dude.
the carrots are, like, the arguably the best part about
Yeah. And they're crunchy still. And
yeah,
it's like,
they're soft and I'm
yeah,
confused. It's yin and yang within the tiny little thing. It's an orange little thing
it
of yin and
is.
yang. How
It is.
cute.
It is. And the flavor of those carrots that she used, though, because that is important, because I'm pretty sure every time you cook it, those carrots are not going to taste identical to that. Those were good carrots. So,
Really
like,
good. She does it
I
good.
mean,
The carrots are always
I'm sure she cooks them in a way that makes them taste bomb, but
yeah,
holy cow,
it's love.
we're so good. And when you cook stuff with love, I truly believe that it's going to make a difference taste wise. Truly will. And if it's not just taste wise, but if you're truly pouring love into it, they're energetically going to eat that. And then that's going to fill them with love. So
Mhm.
it's a huge part of it. Um, One thing I do think that's funny, talking about the moon though,
So fun thing about the
the moon is colder. You know that, right? Like, the moon rays are colder. I just think that's more interesting. Like, on a totally dark night, it's warmer than when the moon is out.
interesting.
I don't know. It's just a very
Yeah.
odd thing. I don't know if it's always been like that. And the reason I bring that up is because you and I were having a conversation earlier, when she read the stories. I recall when I was younger that the moon, when it was gone, it was gone. And the reason we were talking about it is because a lot of the stories you hear is the moon and the sun separating because they were
Yes,
sharing the sky together.
together.
And then all of a sudden now they weren't. Well, I mean, more often than not, I look in the sky, I still see the moon during the daytime. So it's very interesting. I wonder, when are these stories taking place? When was the last time we saw the moon sharing the sky with the sun? Was it within our lifetimes and we just forgot? Or is that a Mandela effect? It's just one of those interesting things that I was thinking about and wanted to bring it to your attention, maybe make you think about it.
It's cool to think about too because every time we look at stories with the moon, and we see it today, you'll see it with the first one, the Japanese one. And it's funny because as we talked about after I read it, I think, but Japanese culture is so heavily male lessons, it feels like sharpening a man into being a man, right? With honor, with dignity, with understanding. That's what a lot of it is. So we get to see the feminine constantly stepping away from a man who doesn't rise to the challenge or like you see today, panics again. So the fear, we've seen this story before, but I like that the feminine, while it is seen as like kind of more of the back burner because the males are getting all the lesson, the feminine is clearly holding so much power. Okay, then I'm going to step away.
Mm,
So there are constantly times where we see these stories and the female had to step away from the male. So the moon intentionally moved or the sun intentionally moved, right? Whatever it may be, they moved away from each other,
mm,
like you said. And there was a clear distinction among all these different cultures. It's like the flood story, right? So history
mm.
goes, okay, we can assume that there was a flood when all these different places not having communication all have different versions of it, right? I mean, you could almost argue that with this too,
Yeah.
because right, you see all
All
these
these
different
cultures.
cultures
I
where,
mean, we
wow,
got just
something
four
happened
right
and
here.
one of them were disrespected, either the sun or the moon, right? And they had to move.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to see that.
Hmm.
Um,
I just like to make people think, think out there, think outside the box. It doesn't matter if it's right, wrong, or indifferent. It's fun to just use our brains in the side of our imagination, using our right side. That's a big thing with me now. Obviously, with QHHT is
Mhm.
you use the right side of your brain, use your imagination, because that's truly where all the magic is in our imaginations, because that's where we're limitless.
Going back to like the cycle that we're in and hoping that our moms and all moms, get
Yeah.
to be celebrated today. We talked about before, like mothers of like obviously human children, right? Mothers of animals, mothers of plants, mothers of all these different things, mothers that are just mothers of their students, right? There are so many different ways to be a mother and to care for people. And we just hope that everyone today is kind of having their full moon day,
Hmm.
getting to live in it and now getting to settle and go to bed knowing that they're like loved and appreciated.
So, like, when they're listening to the stories, I was really thinking about this. What do you want them to be listening for? Like, what would you hope that people, while listening to folklore and flourish in general, but now that you switched it to we talk and then now stories, and they do everything pretty much now themselves. They get to interpret it however they want, which I truly love. But I also loved to interpret it myself and then us talk about it.
Right.
Now, what would you like them to do? Especially say these stories today.
So, what's kind of fun about it is like how we said that we were going to talk a little bit about the stories before. No, I'm not as much as we were doing it before, but it's kind of like when I was teaching, I guess. You do so much, you show so much, and then you kind of step away. When you've imprinted enough to say, hey, this is a variety of different ways of thinking and viewing it.
Hmm.
Now you do it. You think of the different ways that it could be viewed. You know, now I'm getting to take away like the scope of, hey, this is kind of what it's interpreted as, this is what it's been seen as. Now that's gone. So now it's where imagination does fully kick in, like that critical thinking. You know how we
Mm,
see the more technology we use in the classroom, the dumber the kids are, right?
yeah.
Because it's taking away their critical thinking, their need to improvise with everything they've learned. And sometimes the things that they've learned are simply different ways of thinking.
Right.
That doesn't mean, hey, solve a math problem 85 ways and then tell me why you could do it all these ways. No, solve it your way. You got the answer and you did it correctly. Okay, cool, great, let's
Yeah.
go. But now it's kind of like thinking of the lesson like today, the moon, growth following rhythm. The growth follows with rhythm, right?
Mm,
And then I'm going to think, what cycle am I in? Where maybe now I might answer that, oh, the cycle that I'm in is in the full moon phase, right? It's Mother's Day, or it might be the new moon phase
mm,
because, oh, it's Mother's Day and
right.
I'm not a mother. I lost my child or I lost my mom, or, it's just
Yeah.
not a happy day for whatever reason. Maybe I'm in my new moon phase and that's what I'm thinking. Oh, it was just an awful day. But then I hear these stories and I think about it differently in the sense of, oh, you know what, though? I'm in the cycle of like my spirituality is really wanting to blossom.
Mm,
Like I'm in the cycle of my physical well being. Or like how we talked to someone today and they were like, "Oh, we started our diet, we changed our lifestyle for 60 days and the 60 days passed and we're still doing it." They're in their physical cycle.
yeah.
Whereas before we're thinking about, okay, emotionally, what cycle am I in? Now I might be thinking, oh, what entire dimension of my well being am I in? Or am I in the cycle of becoming a better daughter? Am I in the
Mhm.
cycle of wanting to become a mother or wanting to be a better sibling?
Right. Right.
And so it's kind of like I may have an answer to a question and then be thrown four stories that push me to think of it in a totally different way. I may listen to four stories and have the same exact answer. That's fine.
Right.
But it just gives a little bit different perspective because it's not the sense of, and I never wanted to be in folklore and flourish or anywhere where, oh, you're having a hard time. Well, it's worse somewhere else. You know, it's always worse somewhere else. We never want it to be like that because everybody's emotions,
Important.
everybody's pain, everybody's everything is as significant as they are saying and portraying it to be today when you're talking to those people. You don't have to explain to me. You don't have to prove to me that you need help.
Right.
You've asked for help. I don't need you to write a letter, debate with me.
Yeah, that's why I finally stopped her,
Right. But
because
then,
it was like, "Don't. You don't need to."
right. And then it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't, no, we have to because you need to know. It was, no, we have to because we're constantly in this state of having to. So we're just getting ahead of it by saying, hey, understand this about this. I don't know. It's just interesting to be able to step back and go, ooh,
Yeah.
like sometimes it's not necessary.
Right.
It's just fun because then we get to look at the stories. And I don't know, there have been times where I will be dead set on a thought, like even just with our books, I'll be dead set on something.
Mm,
And then you'll say something that's so unbelievably infuriating because it just like lights fireworks
mm,
and connects stuff, or it creates holes in areas where I wanted there to be them. And I'm just like, cool. It just took him going, oh, that would be cool here, here. So sometimes
mhm.
it's also just thinking different perspective or going, if I was this person, what might I think? Like specifically.
Right.
And that helps us all flourish because instead of always going, you know, I need to do something for you when you're feeling bad. I need to buy you something, or I need to treat you special, or I need to like walk on eggshells around you. You know what? Sometimes we need to just be able to directly analyze it
Mm,
so that we can go, here specifically, I'm doing this because you're feeling this today
right.
versus, "Oh, I'm going to make his favorite meal every single time and just say that's the stamp for I care when it's more than that."
Sometimes, honestly, it's being, I feel, like, in my own power. Like, whatever that is, if you're feeling some sort of way. I personally feel like if I just do me to my fullest ability in that day, and whatever that is, and not let your whatever it is that's going on affect me, I'm there for you in a better way. And feel like it makes the situation better because then you can just be like, oh, okay, he's not holding it over my head or whatever, it just makes it more simple and it just makes it so I'm more open. And I just believe if people would stop, I know me doing this, if people would stop taking offense to everything that somebody else does, because it truly might not even be towards them. It really isn't. It's just that person might be having a crap day and they said something, it truly didn't mean it. They didn't even say it towards you. They were just talking. No.
Right. Like 1 or 2 times doing it, you have bad days
Mm,
sometimes. When it becomes a pattern is when it's something that can be addressed.
that's true.
But I get what you're saying, and I like what you're saying is
Mhm.
that little bit of grace. But so many times people don't see how many times they've been given grace,
Right.
and then they're, like, confused.
When they don't get it again.
Yeah. It's like I was talking to someone the other day, and we were sharing things, and I said, "The more aware you are of life, the harder it is." Like, truly.
Mm,
The more aware you are of things, more open you are, the harder it is because you're aware of the consequences. And I don't mean like the law, punishment, follow through. I mean the spiritual consequences, whatever it may be, the physical consequences. The more aware you are of the energy that you have around you and
mhm.
that you intake, the more aware you are of your body going, no. So it's both a sad and very beautiful thing, and I'm just gonna leave it as sad. Yeah, there were a lot of other harsher words I probably could have used for it, but overall, I think it's more beneficial because I don't think that's the kind of simple life that anyone would want to live. I think everyone wants to be aware,
Mhm.
and I don't mean, like, simple as in, like, a farm life and homesteading and stuff. That's not simple. People
No.
that do that, it's not, and having a routine is that doesn't mean it's simple. We're saying just I don't know, just not awareness of what's truly happening, not being able to really take in what's around you. Because to see how sad it is, how terrible it can be, that's only because we know how good it could be. We've only experienced the great, right?
Right.
And like today was like one of those great days for me. And that's why I was bringing it up. Like I was able to be, I don't know, in like that middle phase almost, where you're being so unbelievably illuminated on one side.
Mhm.
And I was just bawling and I didn't know why, you know? Like how I
Yeah.
told you, was filled with so much love for so many people today
Mhm.
that I was crying. And it was sad crying almost,
Yeah.
but didn't feel bad about it.
Yeah, and you didn't need to. There's no reason.
And so, yeah, the cycle that we're in is appreciated. And, I hope that everyone gets to feel that today.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, with that, I think we're going to go into these 4 stories, but
Awesome.
take some time today. The activity is to just take some time to look at the moon. Whether it's in the sky, whether it's in memory, just take a look at it. Take a look at somebody and maybe think about someone you care about and look at them and think what cycle do I think they're in? Are they
Yeah.
needing a little bit more help? Are they needing a little bit more space? Are they maybe just needing to be, shown off? And they
Yeah.
needing to be taken care of, all these different things. But yeah, here are your 4 stories for the moon, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys. Love you and happy Mother's Day.
Yes. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Tsukuyomi, the moon who divides the light. In the age when the heavens and the earth were still finding their order, when light and darkness had not yet been set into their enduring rhythm, there came into being Tsukuyomi, the moon deity, born of the divine creator, Izanagi, as he purified himself after his descent into the underworld. From his right eye emerged this presence, calm and distant, carrying within him the quiet power of the night, while his sister, Amaterasu, the sun, rose radiant and full across the sky. Tsukuyomi took his place in the darkness, not as a lesser light, but as one who governs what is unseen, what moves beneath the surface, what flows in its own rhythm beyond the brightness of day. In those early times, the sun and the moon did not move apart, but shared the sky. Their presence united, their paths intertwined. The world existed within a constant illumination, yet within this unity lay an imbalance, for the fullness of light left no room for rest, no space for the hidden cycles that must unfold in shadow. Tsukuyomi, in his nature, did not reflect the warmth of the sky, but carried a stillness, a clarity that revealed what was otherwise overlooked. He was sent as a representative of the heavens to visit Uke Mochi, the goddess of food, who sustained life through her offerings. Yet, when she prepared a feast, bringing forth nourishment in a manner that revealed the raw and transformative nature of creation, Tsukuyomi saw in her actions something that disturbed him, something that he judged as impure. In response, he struck her down, ending her life, an act that would alter the order of the world. From her body, however, life continued, as grains and sustenance emerged from what had been destroyed, revealing that creation and transformation are not separate, but bound together. When Amaterasu learned of what had been done, she turned away from Tsukuyomi, refusing to share the sky with him, separating light from darkness, day from night. Thus the world was divided, the sun taking its place in the day, and the moon moving into the night, each following its own path, each holding its own domain. From that moment forward, Tsukuyomi became the keeper of the night, moving across the sky in cycles that shift and change, never remaining in a single form. His presence is not constant in the same way as the sun, but waxes and wanes, revealing that life itself does not remain fixed, but moves through phases, through fullness and absence, through growth and retreat. The people came to understand that the night is not empty, but filled with its own kind of life, that the darkness holds its own rhythm, its own necessity. Under the light of the moon, the world softens, the edges of things becomes less defined, and what is hidden during the day may come forward. The tides respond to this presence, rising and falling in accordance with his movement, and the cycles of life follow this pattern, unseen yet deeply felt. Tsukuyomi does not dominate, but guides quietly, his light reflective rather than originating, reminding that not all growth comes from the direct illumination, but from the subtle, the cyclical, the returning. In every phase of the moon, there is a reflection of this truth, that life moves not in a straight line, but in circles, returning again and again to what has come before. Thus, Tsukuyomi remains as the one who governs the unseen rhythm, whose presence divides the light so that balance may exist, whose cycles shape the movement of life beneath the surface, and whose quiet passage across the night sky reminds that growth follows not only the path of brightness, but the deeper rhythm of time itself. Story 2. Ix Chel, the moon who weaves life in waters. In the ancient lands where jungles breathe beneath the humid sky and the stars gather thick across the night, there moves a presence both gentle and formidable, a force that governs not only the tides of water, but the hidden tides within the body and the earth. This is Ix Chel, the moon goddess, whose being is woven into cycles of fertility, creation, and transformation. She is known in many forms, at times as a young woman radiant with life, at times as an aged figure who carries wisdom shaped through time, her presence shifting as the moon itself shifts across the sky. In the earliest days, when the world required not only light but rhythm, Ix Chel took her place among the heavens, not as a steady glow but as a changing force, waxing and waning, revealing that life does not remain constant but moves in cycles of becoming. The people watched her movement across the night sky, observing how she grew in brightness and then receded, understanding that within her changing form lay the pattern by which life unfolds, not in a single motion but through phases that return again and again. Ix Chel was not only a presence in the sky, but a force within the waters of the world, for the rivers, the rains, and the great unseen currents responded to her movement. It was said that she carried a vessel from which water could be poured, bringing rain to the earth when needed, nourishing the soil so that life might rise from it. Yet this power was not without its dual nature, for just as she could give life through water, she could also bring destruction, releasing storms that reshape the land, reminding that creation and dissolution are bound together. The people come to understand that the rains must be respected, that fertility depends upon balance, and that what nourishes can also overwhelm when it moves beyond its proper rhythm. Ix Chel's presence was also known within the body, particularly within the cycles of women, whose rhythms were seen as reflections of the moon itself. In this way, she was not distant, but immediate, her influence carried within the very processes that bring forth life. Midwives and healers called upon her, recognizing her role in birth, in healing, and in the unseen transitions that guide life from one state into another. She became a figure not only of fertility, but of passage, of the movements when life shifts, when something hidden becomes visible. As the cycles continued, Ix Chel remained as both giver and transformer, her phases marking time not through fixed progression, but through return. The people aligned their understanding of growth with her movement, recognizing that planting, harvesting, and renewal followed patterns that could not be forced, only followed. The night sky became a place of observation, where her changing form offered guidance, not through command, but through example. When she was full, her light illuminated the land, revealing what was hidden. When she waned, she drew the world inward, allowing rest and reflection. When she disappeared entirely, she did not cease to exist, but moved into a phase of renewal, preparing to return once more. In this way, her absence was not an ending, but a necessary part of the cycle. The people came to understand that life itself follows this pattern, that growth does not move in a straight line, but in rhythms of expansion and retreat, of fullness and emptiness. Ix Chel remained within those cycles, her presence carried in the waters, in the body, and in the sky, a force that connects all forms of life through movement and change. In every tide that rises and falls, in every birth that brings forth new life, and in every phase of the moon that shifts across the heavens, there remains the enduring presence of Ix Chel, the one who weaves the cycles of existence, whose rhythm guides both the seen and unseen, and whose changing light reminds that life continues through the return of what has been before. Story 3, Selene, the moon who watches an eternal passage. In the age when the heavens were ordered and the path of the divine were set into motion, there rose each night a presence of quiet brilliance, a light not of its own making, yet steady in its return. This was Selene, the moon goddess, who moved across the night sky in her silver chariot, drawn by pale horses whose hooves made no sound upon the air. As Helios, her brother, completed his journey across the day, descending beyond the western horizon, Selene rose in his place, taking the sky into her care, guiding the world through the hours of darkness. Her light was not harsh, nor did it command the world as the sun did, but instead revealed gently, casting a softened glow upon the land, illumining what could not be seen in the absence of day. The mountains, the waters, and the sleeping forms of living beings were touched by her presence. And though her light was quieter, it was no less essential, for it allowed the world to remain visible even in darkness. Her passage was steady, yet ever-changing, for she did not remain in a single form, but waxed and waned, her fullness growing and diminishing in a rhythm that shaped the passage of time. Selene's nature was not only to illuminate, but to witness, for she moved across the heavens as an observer of all that unfolded below. It was said that she saw what occurred when the world rested, when the actions of the day had ceased and the hidden movements of night took place. Among the stories carried of her, there is the tale of Endymion, a mortal of great beauty whom Selene beheld as he lay in eternal sleep. Drawn to him, she descended from her path, coming close to the earth and her light resting upon him, her presence lingering in a moment that existed outside the ordinary passage of time. Endymion did not wake, for his sleep was not of a simple rest, but of permanence. a state in which he remained untouched by age, unchanged by the movement of years. Selene returned to him night after night, her journey across the sky bringing her again and again to the place where he lay, her presence constant even as her form changed. In this, she became not only a guide of the night, but a keeper of continuity, returning always, even as the world itself shifted. Her love did not alter the nature of time for him, yet it existed within it, a steady rhythm of return, a reflection of her own cycles across the sky. As the nights continued and the world moved through its seasons, Selene remained in her path, her presence shaping the rhythm of life in ways both visible and unseen. The tides responded to her movement, rising and falling in accordance with her phases, the waters of the world reflecting her light as they shifted in their own cycles. The people came to understand that her changes were not signs of absence, but of movement, that when she diminished, she was not lost, but in transition, preparing to return in fullness once more. Her light, though borrowed from the sun, carried its own meaning, revealing that reflection itself holds power, and that an illumination must originate to be essential. Under her watch, the world entered a different state, one of quiet and inward motion, where growth continued beneath the surface, unseen yet constant. Thus, Selene remained as both presence and passage, a figure who moves without interruption, whose cycle marks time not through fixed progression, but through return. In every phase of the moon, in every tide that follows her path, and in every night that gives way to dawn, there remains her enduring journey, the quiet and luminous path of Selene, who watches, who returns, and who reminds that life moves in rhythms that cannot be rushed, only followed. Story 4. The Mother Moon, the one who measures hidden time. In the quiet lands where forests rise thick with shadow and rivers move with the slow and knowing current, there is spoken of the Mother Moon, a presence not bound to a single name, but known through her steady watching and her shaping of time itself. She is not seen as distant, nor as a figure apart from the world, but as one who moves above and within it. Her light, soft yet persistent, her influence carried in rhythms that unfold beyond the sight of day. In the earliest times when the sun ruled the brightness of the world and the earth responded to its warmth, there remained a need for balance, for a presence that would guide what could not thrive in constant illumination. It was then that the Mother Moon took her place in the night, her light not overpowering, but revealing in a different way, allowing what was hidden to remain, yet making it visible enough to be known. Her glow settled upon the land like a quiet breath, touching water, field, and forest alike, shaping not through force but through gentle return. The people came to understand that her presence was not one of dominance, but of continuity, a force that measured time not in days alone, but in cycles that returned again and again, marking the deeper movements of life. The Mother Moon was known to govern the rhythms that could not be seen with the eye, yet could be felt within the body and the land. The waters responded to her, rising and falling in accordance with her phases, the tides shifting as though drawn by an unseen hand. The plants, though rooted in the earth, followed her cycles, their growth aligned not only with the sun's warmth, but with the subtle changes she brought. The people, too, lived within her rhythm, their own cycles reflecting her movement, their lives shaped by the waxing and waning of her light. She was called upon in times of transition, when life moved from one state into another, for she governed not only growth, but the passage between phases, the unseen moments when change takes place beneath the surface. Her fullness was a time of illumination, when what had been hidden could be seen clearly, when the world seemed to open under her gaze. Her waning brought a drawing inward, a quieting, a time when what had been revealed turned to stillness. Even in her absence, when she disappeared from the sky, she was not gone, but in renewal, preparing to rise again, carrying the promise of return within her unseen presence. As the cycles continued, the Mother Moon remained constant in her movement, though never fixed in her form. The people marked her time by her phases, understanding that life does not move in a straight path, but in circles, returning again and again to its beginning. Her light became a guide not for action alone, but for reflection, for the quiet understanding of where one stands within the greater movements of life. She did not command, but revealed, not through words, but through the steady unfolding of her phases. The night, under her watch, became a place not of absence, but of presence, where the world continued to move in ways that could not be seen in the brightness of day. In every rising, in every diminishing, and in every return, there remained the pattern of which life unfolds, the quiet assurance that nothing is lost, but only moves through its own cycle. Thus, the Mother Moon stands as the keeper of hidden time, the one who measures life not by its outward expression alone, but by the rhythms that move beneath it. In every tide, in every cycle of growth and rest, and in every moment of transition, there remains her enduring presence, guiding the world through its phases, holding the balance between what is seen and what is yet to come. Daily Thread for May 10th. The moon moves where time cannot be held. What fades prepares to return. Light softens so life can listen. Cycles shape what cannot be forced. Growth follows the unseen rhythm. Fullness and emptiness belong together. What withdraws is not lost. All life turns in quiet return.